Good morning. My name's Ben Haynes. I'm the owner of the Haynes Law Group. I'm here today to talk about surplus recovery agents, specifically in Florida, specifically regarding people who search, review, and try to find out about these surplus recovery companies that continue to contact people after a foreclosure sale occurs and there is a surplus of funds, again, in the state of Florida. I've blogged about this issue probably 50 times, and the reason I blog about this issue is because I've handled hundreds and hundreds of surplus litigation cases for owners all across this state. My biggest concern, and what I continually try to relay to homeowners that have had their property sold and there is a pending surplus, is keeping control. And the biggest difference between hiring a foreclosure surplus lawyer and assigning away your rights to a surplus company is just that. It's control. Now, many people call my office having questions about this issue because as soon as that sale occurs, these third-party companies who are not lawyers will contact people directly. They'll show up at their house, they'll call them, they'll even text message them. Even a little bit more invasive is they'll contact family members. These agents of surplus recovery companies, they don't have any law, they don't have the Florida bar of ethics like attorneys do governing their actions. We're not allowed to contact you directly by phone. We're not allowed to show up at your house and say, hey, hire me so we can try to get your money. This is what they do. And the biggest concern for me is when an owner doesn't know their rights and they just sign the paper that is presented to them, which is an assignment. And once they sign that, they have assigned their rights to the surplus company. At that time, what occurs in Florida every single time is a surplus company has its own lawyer that represents the company. And that's the biggest issue of concern for me, is once the company has your rights, you lose all control of your case. Now, let me tell you the difference between hiring a surplus recovery company and hiring a foreclosure surplus lawyer to help you. When you hire a surplus lawyer, the lawyer will file what's called a notice of appearance in your case. That means the attorney is representing you and your rights in your lawsuit. What happens when you assign away your rights to surplus is a surplus company will file what's called a motion to intervene. And this is done through an attorney hired by their company. What they're doing when they file a motion to intervene, in layman's terms, it means they're becoming or trying to become a party to your lawsuit. That means that they're not filing an appearance on your behalf, they're filing an appearance on their own behalf. That lawyer that they hire, once the motion to intervene is granted by the court, if it is representing that company's interest. Now, you may ask, what's the big deal with that as long as they're trying to get me money? Well, there's several. The first is, I cannot tell you how many times I have been hired by an owner that has assigned away their rights already to try to go get the funds because these surplus recovery companies, frankly, just don't have the experience that a lawyer does, and it's not their fault. They're not an attorney. They're not licensed. They don't go to court and make arguments. They don't get to see the litigation like an attorney does. But the biggest issue is I have to fight so many times in courts all over Florida against the surplus company to try to get funds for the owner. And that's why it's just essential, hire an attorney who's going to represent your rights, because surplus companies are advocating for their own in court. And another big issue that I've seen in Florida is after, even in cases I haven't been brought into, but I'll get a call from someone that says, hey, I'm not sure what's going on with my surplus case. I signed away my rights, and I'll look up their case online. And once I look up their case, many times I've seen that the funds have already been dispersed to the surplus company, and the owner has not received their funds. In some cases, it's been over a year since the court sent the funds. This is the issue, and this is what it boils down to. A lawyer will hold your funds once they're received in trust and contact you immediately. When I receive funds from the court, I place it in your own trust account, governed by the Florida Bar Rules of Ethics. I contact you to send you your funds via wire transfer or even cut you a check within the same week that we receive them. The surplus recovery companies are not lawyers. When the money is sent to them directly, what are they doing with your funds? Are they depositing it into their own checking account? You don't know. And it is not worth the risk. Now, not everyone is going to do their due diligence when these companies call. I put this information out there because I take it upon myself, whether the homeowners hire me or not. I don't want them to hire a surplus company because I don't want owners who have already gone through the tragic foreclosure sale to be put in a position that they shouldn't be put into. So, to leave it at that, keep control of your case. Hire a lawyer who is ethical, who will represent your rights and not represent its company's rights over yours. The biggest thing that a lawyer does is it has to represent your best interest. A surplus recovery company does not. They represent their interest in the court case. And if you want to have the best possible chance of recovering surplus funds, not getting, for lack of a better term, screwed over in the end by a surplus company, it doesn't happen every time, but it happens so often it's nuts in Florida. Hire a foreclosure surplus lawyer. Whether that be me, I give free consultations. You can call and I will give you a free consultation and advise you what needs to happen in your case. I've done thousands of foreclosure cases in Florida and surplus cases in Florida, and it is something I'm well versed in, but I will reiterate, whether it's me or another lawyer, hire a lawyer to represent you in recovering your surplus funds. I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy the feedback that I get from everybody. And if you have any questions, always feel free to call me. It's 1-888-252-8754 for a free consultation. Have a great day, and until next time.